As I watched curiously, she dried her hair properly, put it in a ponytail, and dashed out. Why do you go out after taking a bath? When my granddaughter Jocelyn became a junior high school student, she started going out alone every night. It's always a day when her parents are away. This lasted for about a year, and it didn't change even after the second year of junior high school. Is she doing something dangerous, or does she have a secret that I can't confide in? I understand that it's a difficult age, but I want her to at least tell me where she's going. It's too late if something happens. I was so worried that I called out to her the next day. Jocelyn, you seem to be going out every night. Where are you going? She didn't say anything for a while, just stared at her feet. She seems to be at a loss for something. I decided to wait patiently, but eventually Jocelyn slowly opened her mouth. Her eyes looked like she had made up her mind. Grandma, don't tell Daddy. What is shown on the smartphone is a piece of paper with fine print written on it. Can I read it? When I checked, Jocelyn nodded nervously. Try reading while moving your smartphone away or closer. It said pledge. My name is Kaylani. My husband died a few years ago and I live alone now. I usually live pretending to be nothing, but in reality, I was filled with a sense of loss after losing my husband. The dining table, which until recently was surrounded by 2 people, is prepared for 1 person. Shopping and laundry are all for 1 person. I felt as if I had lost my rivalry, and I spent a lot of time in a daze. There have been days when I haven't talked to anyone, and it seems that I will not be able to do anything about it. I wonder if I should start something like a language school or something. I was thinking about this while idly staring at the bulletin board at the local community center. However, he was still reluctant to pass by. It was like that one winter day. It was a pleasant spring day and a pleasant breeze was blowing, and it was just right for drying the futon. It's okay to dry a lot once in a while. I thought it would be a change of pace, so I hung my own futon for my husband and even a futon for visitors. Suddenly, my phone rang. The call was from my son, Booth, and when I pressed the answer button, I heard a familiar voice say, "Hello." Booth? It's been a long time, Mom. How are you? Yes, of course. How's it going? Booth works as an interpreter and often travels for long periods of time. At one point, he went to Japan and didn't return for about 6 months. Yes, thanks to you, Sierra has been flying all over the place lately. Booth is married to a woman named Sierra, who also works as an interpreter. The fact that she is flying means that she is also going on business trips to Japan more often. They have a daughter, Jocelyn. She has a very cute nose similar to Sierra's. Jocelyn is already in 5th grade, isn't she? Mom, Jocelyn is already in 6th grade and will be in middle school next spring. Oh, already. On the other end of the phone, Booth is smiling. I laughed too. I found myself excited to have a conversation with my son for the first time in a long time. By the way, I have a favor for you. Booth lowered his voice, a little awkward. Say anything. Actually, Sierra and I have been busy with work lately, so we haven't been able to see much about the house or Jocelyn. You want me to take care of you guys. I know it's very selfish, but Sierra insisted on asking you to do the housework. Booth said very sorry. Ever since he was a child, Booth has tried not to rely too much on his parents. From my point of view, he has such an independent personality that I would like to be more dependent on him. I didn't hesitate to accept this request. It's okay, I was just about to have too much time. Are you sure? Yes, with pleasure. Thank you, Mom. It's a line that helps. I couldn't be happier to be with Jocelyn. Then we discussed when we were going to move into Booth's house and what we were going to do with our current house. In this house where her husband is gone, she will no longer live alone. When I thought about it, I was excited about whatever I did. After much discussion, I decided to live with Booth and his family. When I visited their home, Sierra greeted me with a smile. Hi, Keelani. It's been a long time. I'm sorry for asking you suddenly. It's okay, don't worry about it. Mom, you must be tired. Go to your room to rest. As he said this, Booth casually led me into the room with my luggage. Even though he is my son, he is a gentleman. What about Jocelyn? Jocelyn is still at school, and she would be back in the evening. If I think about it, today is a weekday. The sun is high and it's time for elementary school students to go to school. I smiled bitterly in my heart, thinking that what I had done had been done to him and that he had forgotten about it. As Booth said, Jocelyn came home in the evening. I'm home. Welcome back, Jocelyn. Grandma is here, so say hello. As soon as Jocelyn walked into the living room, Sierra said, Jocelyn, it's been a long time. Haven't you grown a lot taller? The last time I saw him was last year, but he looks a lot more mature since then. Oh yes, it's about 5 feet. She looks a little embarrassed. Don't be so nervous. What? Jocelyn, I told you the other day that Mom and Dad are often away on business trips, so I'll leave the house to Grandma. You mean live together? She looks at me with an upturned look that makes her look somewhat anxious. It's true that they've only seen each other occasionally before, so it would be confusing to suddenly live with them. There are a lot of things I don't understand, so I'd be happy if you could tell me a lot. I smiled, trying not to make her feel uneasy. However, Jocelyn bowed and said, her expression stiff. Yeah, I'll try. The following week, both Booth and Sierra left home for business trips. Jocelyn also seems to be enjoying her remaining days at elementary school. On the other hand, when I came home every day, I was momentarily intimidated by my presence. I'm home. Oh, welcome back. Do you want snacks? Let's bake some pancakes. I don't need it. She shook his head and hurriedly retreated to her room. I wonder if it's a difficult age. However, when I went to call her because it was time for dinner, she did not answer. Aren't you hungry? I don't get any answer when I ask. I couldn't help it, so I decided to leave the food on a tray in front of the room. When I went to see it a few hours later, the food was neatly laid out. Apparently, it's not that I'm sick or that my cooking is bad. There's something, I'm sure. After that, Jocelyn graduated from elementary school and became a junior high school student. Dressed in crisp uniforms, she and Booth and Sierra take a commemorative photo in front of the school gate. You could come in too. It's bad if I go in. When Jocelyn is with her parents, she usually comes to the living room and eats. But when the two of them aren't around, she's stuck in her rooms all the time. That didn't change when I became a junior high school student. Jocelyn, what are you doing in your room all the time? On a holiday, I asked Jocelyn when she came out of the room. Well, homework or something like that? He had a rather nonchalant attitude, but she didn't seem to mind it. Well, that's great. I guess so. What subject do you like? Math. No, Japanese. Suddenly, I remembered my student days at Booth. Booth showed an interest in languages from an early age and was obsessed with children's picture books written in Japanese and Japan play songs. When I was in junior high school and high school, I started watching Japanese movies and singing Japanese music. My husband and I saw Booth in such a lively way. Booth likes Japanese, and I've searched for various classes to help him learn more languages. We worked hard to pay for his tuition so that he could go to the department of his choice. Japanese is now flying around working as an interpreter, but it is because of this accumulation that he is where he is today. All of these things flashed through my mind in an instant, and these words came out of my mouth. Japanese? Same as Booth. What? I said, and Jocelyn looked up. Your father has loved Japanese since he was little, and in junior high school, he was the best student on the Japanese test. She looks at me with eyes that seem to say that she knows it for the first time. Jocelyn's eyes made me feel the remnants of Booth. Daddy. I've been listening to Japanese music often, so why don't you ask him the recommended songs next time? However, Jocelyn looked away with a complicated look on her face. I don't know what kind of emotion it is. His mouth is tightly knotted and his face is indescribable, as if he is happy and suppressed. Jocelyn quickly went back to her room, and she couldn't talk anymore that day. As usual, she is confined to her room. Well, I just have to get to know each other without rushing. Every day I brought the food to the front of her room and lowered the dishes. I also told Booth and Ciara about Jocelyn. Did you know that Jocelyn likes Japanese? Well, I didn't know because she didn't say anything. She's always studying hard. Oh, I think you've gotten along well with Jocelyn. But hey, she doesn't come out of the room easily. I wonder if it's a difficult age. Leave her alone, such an unfriendly child. Ciara puffed out her cheeks in a boring manner and quickly left the living room. Is it my daughter, but I wonder if she doesn't care? Booth and I looked at each other as if we didn't understand the reason. Despite my desire to get to know Jocelyn, she has recently started going out alone every night. It's always a day without my parents. I guess I didn't think I was getting caught, but I always cared. This went on for about a year, and then one day, Jocelyn, who stands at the entrance, is now a second-year student and is familiar with her uniform. I was starting to think that it was time to talk about the night outing. Especially after the summer vacation, as soon as I get out of the bath, I change into my uniform and go out. Why do you go out after taking a bath? Dry her hair properly, put it in a ponytail, and dash out. On that day, her parents were away on a business trip. For the next 3 days, neither of them will be back. I was so worried that I called out to her the next day. Jocelyn, who had just entered the living room, found out that she was about to go out that day. Jocelyn, you seem to be going out every night. Where are you going? Well. I'm worried. It's dark at night, and I think something will happen. When I told her that she was upset, Jocelyn tightened her mouth. Please, don't do anything dangerous. I didn't do anything dangerous. Then, why are you sneaking out at night? Jocelyn didn't say anything for a while, just stared at her feet. He seems to be at a loss for something. I decided to wait patiently, but eventually Jocelyn slowly opened her mouth. His eyes looked like he had made up his mind. Grandma, don't tell Daddy. He operated the smartphone in his hand and showed me the screen. What is shown on the smartphone is a piece of paper written in fine print. What is this? Did you write it? No, I didn't want to write something like this. However, no matter how you look at it, this is a child's handwriting. It's just like a teenager like Jocelyn. My mom forced me to write. Can I read it? When I checked, Jocelyn nodded nervously. I look at the screen of her smartphone, moving away and closer. Written in fine print, it is a pledge. Even after graduating from junior high school, I don't have any intention of going on to higher education. Surprisingly, Jocelyn did not want to go on to higher education in the future. I wonder why Sierra made you write this. My mom told me. Jocelyn says that Sierra married Booth because she liked Booth, who was smart and could do her job. However, she gradually begins to have a complex about him. It was the same with her daughter, Jocelyn. From an early age, Jocelyn was smart, similar to her father, Booth. When they go to elementary school, they learn English in class, and their knowledge increases more and more. Sierra didn't like Jocelyn's eyes. That's why Sierra told her not to study too much. But Jocelyn, you said you enjoy studying, didn't you? Yes, but Mom told me not to study. Why? Well, I don't know, people don't like smart kids. That's what I was told. I couldn't believe that Sierra would say such a thing, let alone make me write a pledge. Yes, but as I spent time with you, I realized that what my mom was saying was more of a lie. People don't like smart kids? In fact, people like them. Wow, is it okay to study? Japanese and more. Of course there is something you want to learn, right? Say whatever you want. Large tears spilled from Jocelyn's eyes. No matter what she said or heard, she was expressionless and nonchalant. But this is the first expression she shows. I panicked and pulled over a box of tissues I had left nearby. I really want to go to high school. I want to go on to higher education. I'm sorry for being silent. You couldn't tell your father, right? Daddy always seems to be busy. Besides, I thought I could stop it just like my mom. Occasionally, while squeezing, Jocelyn will talk to me. But Grandma, when you told me about my dad, I thought you would understand. I hugged Jocelyn's shoulder and hugged her tightly. With tears and a runny nose, she crumpled her face and cried. It's okay, don't cry anymore. But what about sneaking out at night? I was going to cram school. At this time, I can take a free course. That's why. Even if she managed to go to the cram school alone, what a mess. I always think that this kind of thing is similar to Booth. Thank you for talking to me, you're a precious child. I stroked her head and wiped away her tears. I need to talk to Booth and Sierra about this. I'll talk to your mom and dad so you can go to cram school, and I'll leave the rest to me. Really? Yes, I mean it, I promise. A few days later, as soon as Booth returned, I told him the truth in the absence of Sierra and Jocelyn. When Booth had finished listening to everything, his shoulders shook with anger. I can't believe Sierra was cornering Jocelyn like that. With Jocelyn's permission, I kept her smartphone and showed a photo of the pledge. I was also able to see the exchange between Sierra and Jocelyn. I'm going to ask Sierra everything. I need to hear the truth. Just then, as if at the right time, the front door opened. Sierra is back. As she walked into the living room, the four eyes of me and Booth caught her. What is going on? Perhaps sensing a strange atmosphere, Sierra shook her shoulders in surprise. Sierra, I need to talk. Sit there. Booth pointed to a table in the living room. Sierra sat down quietly and looked at me and Booth sitting across from me. What is it? Suddenly. Don't be fooled. You know what you've done. Booth said nonchalantly and showed Jocelyn's phone. The pledge was projected on it, and Sierra gasped. Didn't you tell Jocelyn not to study and not let her go to school? What are you talking about? She wrote it on her own. She said she was made to write it by you. Oh, I wouldn't do that. It's not true. So what is this pledge, to whom? I don't know. She wrote it because she didn't want to study. My mom told me that she likes Japanese. That's you mother's delusion. You're going to make fun of me. Jocelyn was crying because she wanted to go to cram school. She wanted to go to high school. Ugh, that's a lie. She's lazy and doesn't study. So much for my grades. Jocelyn is smart enough to be in the top 3 in her grade. What? You must be jealous of such a clever Jocelyn. Sierra couldn't say anything back. She bites his lip and stares at me. And you pretended to be on a business trip and had an affair, didn't you? Oh, that's it. Don't say terrible things without proof. There's proof. Booth placed Jocelyn's smartphone screen on the table with it facing up. There were also instructions left for Sierra to create an alibi during the cheating trip. If you look closely up to the date, it's not once or twice. There is an exchange that suggests that it has been repeated over and over again. Well, you made Jocelyn complicit in something that would destroy your own family. No, there's a reason for this. Did you enjoy fooling me? I didn't mean it. I guess the reason why you made my mom do housework was to cheat on me. You're not home all the time and Jocelyn hates me and misses you. Is that what you really mean? It's your fault for making me lonely. Don't be stupid. That's enough. Wait, am I the only one to blame? She's the one. I don't like smart kids. Jocelyn isn't your doll. I snapped, I said. Sierra calls Jocelyn that girl. What's that? Jocelyn must have been hurt. You wouldn't know. How would you feel if you were called that person? Ha, a. Only then did she seem to realize something. Oh my God. Sierra covered her face and began to cry. I don't know if it's regret or acting. She was sobbing and begging for forgiveness. I'm not jealous of Jocelyn anymore. I'm going to stop cheating. So, please forgive me. Listening to this, Booth said in a daze. I don't feel like it won't work anymore, and I'll discuss the future with Jocelyn and decide. Booth, no way. I don't want Jocelyn to see someone who treats her so badly. Booth dropped his eyes and continued. But if Jocelyn still wants to live with you, I won't divorce you. Sierra dropped tears on the table and repeated, I'm sorry forever. On a weekend afternoon, Booth and Jocelyn were in the interview room at the cram school. The principal of the school greets us with a gentle smile and explains the characteristics of the cram school and the curriculum for each course. In addition to providing instruction according to the student's level, they also accept individual instruction if they wish. Jocelyn has liked the ease of studying at this cram school since she came to the free course. Therefore, I decided to enter the school on the same day after listening to the story. After completing the formalities for entering the school, the three of us walked slowly home. Japanese classes are interesting because the teachers make grammar songs to make them easier to remember. She speaks happily, and her smile shines brightly that has never been seen before. That's good, Jocelyn. Yeah, thank you, Grandma. Don't forget about me. Booth laughs, saying mischievously. After that day's discussion, Booth looked at Jocelyn's phone again, even though he thought it was bad. In an exchange with Ciara, Jocelyn talked about why she started studying Japanese. I never thought I wanted to read the Japanese version of Harry Potter. I was surprised, too. Well, it's not a good reason. Her face clouds slightly, and both I and Booth shake our heads with all our might. No, it's so nice, I just want my grandma to tell me. Yet you're a junior high school student and want to read Japanese books. It's a promising future. It was a little too much, and I laughed inwardly, but I didn't say it. I'm saying that, but it's the same with Booth when I was in junior high school. When Booth was in junior high school, he was begged to have a Japanese reference book that he desperately wanted. I once asked him why he studied Japanese so intently. My husband and I were surprised when he replied that he wanted to translate the lyrics of Japanese music. While reminiscing about this, Booth suddenly hummed Japanese music. When you were in junior high school, it was Japanese music that got me interested in languages. Booth. Really? Yes, I forgot the name. Oh, I remember when I wanted to translate the lyrics of Sukiyaki. Kiwi Sakamoto. You know better, okay, I'll let you listen to Daddy's special record later. No, I'm good. Jocelyn is smiling. I guess it's because I don't have to endure Ciara's pressure anymore. Booth divorced Ciara. Ciara was eager to try again until the end. However, no matter how many family meetings they had, Booth and Jocelyn refused Ciara. In the end, Ciara had no choice but to sign the divorce papers, pack her things, and leave. According to what I heard in the wind, the cheating partner was the husband of her mom friend in elementary school. Her husband had no intention of breaking up with his wife, and he had no intention of being with Ciara. Ciara was dumped by her cheating partner and now lives in an old and cheap apartment. However, she doesn't seem to be able to get much work as an interpreter, so her life must be hard. Jocelyn, on the other hand, came to the table at dinner and began to eat with her. Since she went to cram school, she seems to have made more friends. Daddy, Grandma, I'm going to a concert with my friends next time, Jocelyn said happily as she ate the chicken for dinner. Sounds like fun, just be careful. Do you have enough money? It's okay. Booth regretted that he had only traveled so far and asked for a transfer to his workplace. His job as an interpreter remained the same, but he was assigned to a department that had as little travel as possible. Booth is happy that he has been able to spend more time with Jocelyn. Jocelyn is about to enter the high school entrance exam season. Booth and I will support her so that she can go on to higher education as she wishes. Before I knew it, I realized that I had overcome both the loneliness of being alone and the loss of losing a loved one. I am grateful for the competition every day. I hope that the happy days of living together will continue in the future.